Welcome to the DEI podcast and to this special episode, which is dedicated to celebrating Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. I'm your host, Sip Barreto, partner and chair of the corporate practice at Squire Patton Boggs. And today I have the pleasure of shining the spotlight on an exceptional individual in our firm. Joining me is Gicel Tomimbang, an associate in the data privacy, cybersecurity, and digital assets practice. She's a former deputy attorney general and Office of Civil Rights investigator, and also my mentee. Her contributions and journey are as inspiring as they are impactful. Gicel, welcome, and thank you very much for being here.
Hi, Sib. It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So just to kick things off, Gicel, can you share with us your story and what inspired you to pursue a career in law?
Yes. Growing up, I didn't aspire to be an attorney. What I actually knew I wanted to do I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew that I wanted to do something that was meaningful and impactful. My parents are very traditional, and so they expected me to pursue a career in healthcare. A career in healthcare certainly was aligned with my goals of doing something meaningful and impactful. But there was a part of me that wanted to rebel against those expectations. I just remember being in my 20s and knowing that I was going to spend a long time with my career. And so I wanted something that was going to be just mine. That was something that I chose. And, I kept thinking about the different types of careers that were out there where people were doing meaningful and impactful things and helping others with their work. And I kept coming back to attorneys. And so at some point I decided to take the leap. I took the LSAT, applied to law school, and here I am today, living the dream.
Excellent. You and I both share that as having maybe more role models in the healthcare space, Filipino parents who probably look more in that direction than in law, but they're no doubt incredibly proud of you now and all you've accomplished. I mentioned in the introduction that you were a former deputy attorney general and Office of Civil Rights investigator. How do those experiences influence your current role?
Oh, yeah. Well, I am so grateful to have had the opportunity and good fortune to begin my career in public service. The time I spent at HHS in the HE's office was really foundational in my development as an attorney. During my time there, I learned about the law and underlying policy objectives. And I saw firsthand the difficult job that government attorneys have of achieving short-term policy wins, but also forecasting how their policy priorities today will impact the various constituents that they serve in the future. That experience is really important in my practice today because whenever I advise our clients, I try to help them, identify their short-term goals on a matter and also help them see what their long-term goals are. So, for example, it may be that today a client and I are working together to build a user interface that's privacy protective and easy for consumers to use. But the long-term impact of that would be something like it mitigates the risk of future enforcement, and it also enhances the company's reputation as a consumer-friendly and protective platform. So things like that, I would try to flag that for the client so they can see how their work today builds towards a better future for them and their company.
Great. What does a typical day look like for you at Squire Patton Boggs, and how do you stay updated with the rapidly evolving field of cybersecurity and digital health?
Yeah, so not every day is the same around here. We support clients across industries, and sometimes I'll have opportunities to interface with them, but other days I'm at my desk drafting correspondence and memos and researching different legal issues. It just depends on what our clients need. Staying on top of the issues. So I stay on top of privacy, security, and digital health issues by reading a lot. I read a mix of professional publications, news updates, government press releases. I've found that LinkedIn has been a good resource for me. Folks like to post what they're seeing, what they're thinking about, and, just having that groupthink platform has really helped shape how I view the issues and think about the different developments in privacy and security and digital health. And then each week, our data group has a team call where we discuss substantive issues and also provide updates on what projects we're working on. Those weekly meetings for our team is a really great opportunity for each of us to check in and learn from each other's experiences from the past week.
Yeah, that's great. I know it's a very dynamic field, and you've done a terrific job of through social media of posting things. I know I learn about the space by being connected to you on LinkedIn. So I'd encourage the rest of our Squire colleagues to connect with you and to follow you on LinkedIn. What particular cases or projects that you've worked on, Gicel, stand out to you?
Projects that stand out to me. So when I first joined Squire, I was working with a few of the other attorneys in our team on a matter. A client had a data incident. They were being investigated by a regulator. The investigation went on for a year. We were helping the client form responses, draft responses, interface with the regulator. They did a couple of interviews with them. And then at the end of it, the regulator closed the matter and, didn't find any reason to continue the investigation. And, after a year of going through that rigmarole, it was just really, a breath of fresh air for the client. But I think for me, the important part was throughout that process of going through the investigation, the client and the regulator developed a good rapport with each other because of the way that we facilitated the relationship between the parties. And so at the end of it, they were friendly and they were talking about, possibly pairing up for some training opportunities for the client staff. It was a great opportunity for the agency to achieve their, their community outreach goals so they can get in front of various stakeholders to discuss their policy priorities and also how they're interpreting the law in their daily enforcement activities. And so overall, it was a win, for both sides. And, I was glad to have contributed to that type of outcome.
No, that's great. I mean, I know that's it from talking to you in other contexts. It's an example of how your time in government and your time as a deputy attorney general makes you uniquely situated to help clients navigate those kind of situations. Are there any people who have positively impacted or inspired your career path, Gicel?
Cybersecurity, because he's great.
Shameless loyalty. I'm sure there's many other.
Yes, there are. I have had the great good fortune of having really good teachers and really good mentors in my life. I feel really thankful that a lot of people have felt that it was important to invest in me. And in turn, I find myself investing in others too because of the way others have treated me. And then I think as far as a particular person, I had a law school professor, Eric Goldman. He was the director of the Privacy Law Certificate program at my law school, Santa Clara Law. I just remember starting law school and not knowing anything about privacy, but what I did have was healthcare experience. And, the transition from healthcare to privacy was just a natural progression because there are a lot of privacy issues in healthcare. And he helped me navigate, he kept saying privacy is the future, data is the future. He's like, keep at it, take all these certifications, take these classes. And even after now, I'll connect with him at conferences. We'll send emails to each other or we'll hop on calls to check in with each other. It's just, I feel very fortunate to have developed that rapport with a law school professor that still is ongoing today.
That's wonderful. Great to hear about Professor Goldman. And also your comment about kind of how you are paying it forward by helping and mentoring other attorneys that you're working with. Outside of your professional life, what are some of your interests or hobbies, and how do you balance the demands of this career with personal well-being?
Yes. So we work a lot of hours. That's true for everybody. But outside of work, my husband and I have 2 dogs. We have 2 miniature schnauzers, and we like to take them on walks, take them on hikes. We love hanging out with them. One of them is 10 years old, and then we have another that's 4 months old. So the puppy, we're training him to be a productive little dog. So it's pretty fun to see our older dog and our puppy interact with each other. Aside from that, I like to read nonfiction books. Most recently, I've been reading Melinda Gates's book, Moment of Lift. It's about her work investing in initiatives that around women's health and the different folks she's met along the way with that work. So it's just, I like to learn about people and their lives and how they've invested in the communities that they occupy and the people who are around them. And so it's really inspiring to read her story.
That's great. I'll have to add that to my reading list. Thank you, Gicel, for that. What advice would you give to young AAPI individuals aspiring to enter the legal field?
Advice, keep going. It's keep going. I think when you're thinking about law school, it feels like a long path from, when you get into law school to when you become an attorney, and then when you become an attorney to like whatever you're going to do with that career. But, even if your path is winding, it'll get you to where you're supposed to be as long as you stay on it and you do the work diligently and thoughtfully. You're kind to the people around you, and, you just work towards doing something that's productive. We're all here today because of the work of AAPI attorneys who came before us. They had the hard job of being first, and we get to enjoy the efforts that they've put in. And so I see my role here as an opportunity to build on that work and to keep the door open for others who are going to come after me. And I hope that's the same for the folks who will come after me.
Excellent. Very, very well said, Gicel. Thank you. And a good place for us to wrap up. As we wrap up today's conversation, I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to Gicel for sharing her insights and experience with us. Your journey is not just your own, but also serves as a beacon for the AAPI community and beyond. To our listeners, thank you for joining us in this celebration of AAPI Heritage Month. Let's continue to support and uplift the diverse voices that make our community and our firms stronger. If you'd like to be involved with our AAPI resource group, and I hope you do, please do reach out to our Office of DEI. Thanks very much.